So the first question you're going to ask is, what is Harper? And the answer is we're a composable application platform that lives on the edge. We have all the pieces of your distributed architecture in a single 100 megabyte process stack, including database, messaging, caching, and hosting layer for applications written in Node.js and JavaScript. By living in Linode in the Akamai Cloud, we can actually build an entirely distributed application layer with extremely fast replication, enabling a bunch of use cases that can drive e-commerce revenue through the roof. So if you look on the left, you'll see sort of the way a traditional call and response happens with an application built using a service-oriented architecture. It involves the client, a customer using a web browser, opening a website and making a call that goes to the Akamai edge. It'll interact with an edge worker, maybe the global traffic manager. It'll go from there to your on-site API gateway, where you're housing your business logic. From the API gateway, it will hit your services, your Kubernetes cluster. You may have Mongo, Redis, Postgres, other API services deployed. And from there, it'll have to go all the way back to your origin where your original data lives to pull data, to feed back, to tell customers, what do you have on site? What do you have on the shelves? What products are you selling? And at what price points are you selling them? This could look like any online retailer. Every retailer does the same thing, and most of you will probably have this running through your store as the stack and the workflow that's happening today. What it looks like when you deploy Harper is what you see on the right. So your client makes the same request, it hits the Akamai edge, but from there it goes directly into a Harper layer. And Harper, because it has been caching and synchronizing data with your origin natively, can respond to that request in 5 milliseconds. It drives a whole bunch of performance improvements, and it drives in a whole bunch of architectural simplifications, which not only increase revenue, but also save a bunch of costs. So how does it work? Well, at the end of the day, the way it works is Harper is the distributed application layer that lives within Akamai, where you can deploy your logic and you can ETL from your origin directly into that application layer. You can cache dynamically, so when requests come through and have to pass through to your origin, you can detect them and cache in the Akamai Harper layer, or you can pre-configure and pre-populate, pushing your data into that layer ahead of time so those requests are super fast. I'll get to a couple of use cases in a few minutes that describe different ways that you can use this caching layer. And it's not just a caching layer. We have customers who are hosting their entire e-commerce site end to end, from the front end to the back end to the data for their inventory. And they've gone from 5 seconds of LCP to less than 2 milliseconds. So it's a super performant way we can host the entire application stack or any part of it. And we have the messaging layer incorporated as well. Now, why do you care? I'll get the buttons right in a second. But the reason why you care is because speed drives revenue, especially in e-commerce. What we know is that every 1/10 of a second is about a 1% revenue lift. So if you can increase your site speed a 1/2 second, then you can increase your revenue by 5%. That's a huge, huge gain for things that are just sitting there. This is not a replacement. This is not an upgrade. This is not a change of the way things are happening. This is revenue left on the table that Harper and Akamai working together help you pick up and take to the bank. Super simple. 70% faster page loads, 60% reduction in time to first byte. We can see a revenue lift of 8.6 million for one of our customers. And you can see a 70+% return on investment by deploying Harper in your Akamai solution today, with a bunch of these customers below already successfully gaining revenue by deploying these two technologies together. Now, Harper's super simple, super fast, and super easy. And I'm going to say super about 4 more times, and then you're all going to get up and stab me in the eye. You can see in the middle here all the different use cases or solutions, as we call them, that Harper can accelerate for your e-commerce business. We're the second largest implementation of early hints, driving time to first byte, extreme fast time to first byte with early hints. We've got a redirection layer. We have a semantic cache. We have an MCP server. We have OAuth. We have Edge AI and pre-rendering, HTTP caching, and a bunch of e-commerce templates. All of these work together primarily to solve two major problems that customers have. One major problem is customer experience is slow. Web pages load slow. Queries are slow. GraphQL queries are slow. Inventory, product detail pages, product listing pages. They all end up suffering, and customers end up going to a different site. They end up going to another retailer whose site performs faster. By implementing Harper to do early hints, redirection, and caching, you can actually increase the speed of your e-commerce site and lower your abandonment, reduce your churn, and increase the revenue. Not just increased revenue through closure, but also increasing your average order size for every sale that you make. The second thing that we have is not just direct for e-commerce, but working in partnership with Akamai using the Global Traffic Manager and the Bot Manager. We have a solution to pre-render your entire website, caching it so that SEO's crawling is extremely high performance. And when we reduce the time to respond to SEO requests for pages by using pre-rendering and caching, it increases the search results. So you, as the seller of your products, become the highest ranking search result on Google search, which drives organic traffic to your site, increasing revenue even more. It also, on the cost side, enables you to reduce the amount of money that you spend on paid search. So your cost per click, your cost per marketing campaign can go down while your organic traffic goes up because you've implemented caching to make bot traffic extremely efficient. In addition to these e-commerce use cases, we've got a few other use cases that are coming or deployed that are super interesting. One is we've got a vector database and semantic cache, accelerating AI at the edge, accelerating search. And we've got an AI framework that we're rolling out that allows you to do inferencing at the edge while you do training and model management in the core of your system. And it's able to be configured and deployed to isolate PII. So you maintain all the information about your customers, and none of it is bled into the inferencing and training solution, so that you can have a pristine, clean PII regulatory compliant AI deployment. What does that look like? Because AI is kind of the thing, and the slide's really bright. I apologize. But what it looks like is you run a bunch of deployment infrastructure that does model management, loading, and training. And it's a AI ops pipeline end to end. So it's near your origin, has access to your core. You deploy models all the way to the edge using Akamai's latest investments in hardware at the edge for accelerating AI. You can inference in between 10 and 50 milliseconds, sometimes less than 10 milliseconds, at the edge in real time while customers are browsing. You can do it across multiple models. So you can have a price sensitivity model, you can have a recommendation model, you can have a product catalog refinement and scoring model. You could do any number of models on the edge that are inferencing in parallel, modifying the results that are returned based on your query to the cache. In addition to that, it allows you to run models in parallel for deployment and management, meaning you can blue-green your models. So when you've got a new model, if the confidence of the inferences is dropping, you can retrain that model on live data that you've confirmed with your customers, and then deploy a new version of that model that's been updated with live data. You can do it in a test mode, blue-green. So you've got your green model that's production, your blue model that's riding right behind it. Split your traffic. And when your blue model meets or exceeds the confidence levels of your green model, you can swap them dynamically with zero downtime, zero understanding or impact on your customers. You can also A/B test models to say you've got two different price sensitivity models. You want to understand how they perform, run them in parallel, split traffic. So it effectively gives you a model management and training layer all the way out to the edge that lets you run experimentation, improvements, performance testing with zero downtime and high availability for everything that's running, while keeping the data sensitive and in your control, because it's all running either on your origin or in the cache that Harper and Akamai are hosting for you. So this is one of the biggest things that I think is going to be exciting for folks. And I'm pretty sure the next thing is a call to action. So if you're interested in trying out Harper on Akamai, you can scan this QR code, sign up for Fabric, which is our self-managed deployment infrastructure, deploy a couple of instances of Harper, run application templates that we have running in it, so you could deploy some examples, run it in production, see how it works, and if it's exciting and you like what's going on, you should contact your Akamai rep or me and tell us how to follow up. And that's my thank you. Super fast, super easy. Questions? So Harper and Akamai are like peanut butter and chocolate in a Reese's peanut butter cup. There's no better way to put it. And I know it's an old commercial, but it's true. Akamai's the chocolate and Harper's the peanut butter. We sit and run on the Linode instances that are running in Akamai's cloud. And we expand and enhance the capabilities that Akamai already provides. So, for example, with Edge KV caching, there's a 1 megabyte limit in the Edge worker. Harper can extend that 1 megabyte to as much as you need for your key value table. Same thing for redirects. There's a limit on the redirects. I forget what the limit is. Harper can add an infinite expansion of redirects in that table. Same thing for any of the other Edge worker capabilities. So anything that the Edge worker can do, Harper can actually extend that to do more of it. So Harper is a general application stack with a database underneath it. It's got a NoSQL/SQL data layer at the bottom. It's a document DB that you can use SQL to access. And we can do blobs, binary blobs, so we can do caching of blobs. We can stream blobs. So we can store almost any kind of data, if not any kind of data, and we can interact with it in the ways that every enterprise would need to interact with it today. So you could load up video files and stream them out of blobs. Probably not the first choice that I'd make, but it's possible. Or you could load up every asset that you can't fit in your cache. So if you're feeling cache limited and you've got a long tail because you've got 10,000 assets that are touched once a month, Harper could store all of those and keep them near the edge. Akamai is strong in many spaces, but the way I like to describe the peanut butter and chocolate of the relationship is Akamai is able to do a broad amount of stuff. Like they can cover geographically an immense space with an immense capability. And what Harper does is it extends the depth of that capability for any particular use case.